This is a Guide Your Light network production, creating podcasts with purpose.
My name is Kiani Mills, and this podcast is created to help you see, feel, and experience the human side of business. I'm a business owner, an entrepreneur, and a parent. And like many who have travelled this path before me, I've been through the lows of the lows and the gut-wrenching pain. But I've been through the triumphs and the wins and the indescribable highs, all of which I consider to be my lessons in the school of life. On this show, we are going to start some conversations to ignite new world ideas into some very old age businesses. So if you're a leader, a business mind, or an entrepreneur, get ready to think, act, and feel differently so that we can all reach a new level of business success together. So, what are you waiting for? Welcome back to this week's episode of She Can Humanise Business. This podcast was created because I really started to see a little bit of lack in the world. And I wanted to bring to light the fact that we're not in dire straits and we're not falling into a pit of despair, and that the world is full of magical and incredible humans who are not only running businesses but are doing life just as well as they are running businesses. So this business podcast is more so about life and how we show up as humans first and foremost, and then how that flows into how we show up in business. So all of my guests, if you haven't figured this out or not, embody this. They embody humanizing business. They understand that, yes, business is life, but life is also business. So today I am very grateful to have a dear friend of mine, Travis Cochran, on the show, who is also known as the technician. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I even thought about doing like the let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, there's an energy about today, and obviously just being around you, being with you, obviously having you as a friend, but also as a mentor now. Super grateful.
We've had some fun.
Yeah, and it's only been a short time, right? Like, how long have we known each other? Maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pumped to talk about this because it's something that's very near and dear to me, because I'm all about the human and humanizing life, and just knowing what you just said, that things don't have to be as hard as people make them out to be.
It can actually be quite simple, can't it?
Yeah, no matter how hard it gets.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start with the opening question of, what does humanizing business mean to you?
I love that question, and I felt into it before, and for me, humanizing business for me in particular, how do I feel waking up in the morning? Because as you said, business is life, life is business, molding the two between the two. I feel like people get into business and then they don't even know how to live their own life. They actually just somehow create a life of chaos where this
and
thing,
stress.
They've wanted to create freedom for themselves, but if anything, they've created less freedom by saying that this is the word I keep, or this line I hate to hear, I have to work hard to make it work. Like, bro, do you?
Yeah.
Do you really? And
can you hear yourself right now?
don't get me wrong, like, I've worked my ass off to get to here. Although now it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
In regards to what I've come through, you know.
But it's because you make it easy.
100%. And
if you want to look at the shit, it's going to be really hard. But if you want to look at the blessings and look at the way that things can be done, it doesn't have to be.
1,000%. And I know for me in particular, with my business, being a coach, podcaster, online brand, all those things, I am the human. I am the human that brings in the business. So for me to work on myself, that's the most important aspect for me, because that will be energetically reflected in everything I do.
It starts and stops with you.
Yeah.
You'd be selfish not to.
Like, look at what's happened today, right? I could have walked in here to this beautiful place.
We are so lucky to be
Shout
here.
out to Havana House.
Yes.
And I've walked in and met Chloe, the owner, and Cam,
yeah.
and just straight away,
How was the energy in here? Holy crap.
us four was
Yeah.
it was a vibe,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
I could have walked in if I hadn't done the work to become the person I am today, energetically, physically, all the things, right? I might have walked in and they wouldn't give me the time of day and vice versa.
Or you might have walked in with nerves and anxiety and apprehension and like, oh my God, I've got to talk on this.
Will they like me?
I've got to talk on this amazing podcast. What are they going to think of me?
I'm sweating and shit.
Right.
But I just walked in so carefree, so loving.
And straight into a big giant hug.
Yeah. And I love that I got a hug from Cam at the end there too.
I know.
I could tell he was that type of guy.
Yeah.
So it's just, these are the things, right? I think people forget, I know people forget sometimes that the human experience within business is super important, because the human you are is what you'll see within your business too.
I love that so much. It's so much. And gosh, I keep banging on about the theme, and every episode's different and every spiel is different, but it all starts with us. All starts within. All starts like right freaking here. Nowhere else, just here. And that's where it doesn't have to be complicated. Where it gets complicated is because we keep going out there to try and find things and put things
External.
in and see how they fit. And it's like putting on a size 2 pair of jeans when you're clearly a size 10. It's never going to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, so stop going for those things. Let's start finding the ease in life. Let's start finding the flow and the balance. And look, let's be fair. It's been a pretty rough ride the last few weeks, right?
Yeah. It has been tough. And, for good reason. I personally have, on my journey, I think the tough times breed the good times based off the fact that I'm able to move through them too.
100%.
I could just give in and just say, it's all too hard.
Yeah.
But I know on the other side of those challenges is so much goodness. Look at the week we're having now.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I'd give those 3 weeks for this week in a heartbeat.
100%. Also, can we swear on this thing?
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah. So it's knowing that, and it's just like anything, right? Like fitness, you put in the hard work at the gym, you're going to get stronger, you're going to look better, all the things.
And you're going to get sore muscles in the meantime. You're not going to want to wake up at 4 a.m. and you're not going to want to do that 5th burpee. Get it?
Oh, burpees, no.
But on the other side of it, you got muscles, you feel good, you got energy.
Yep. You meet the right people.
That's right.
Which we talk about in business being, I personally think, top 5 most important things is, as we hear the old saying of, it's who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, a part of it is what you know, because if we go back to me walking in today, I know who I am. Mm-hmm. So I will stand in my fucking power when I walk into a room. So then who I meet, it's on another level, because they go, wait a second, who's this guy? I want to get to know him. So yes, that old saying of it's who you know, super important. But do you know yourself first? Let's expand on that a bit and say, before you walk into a room or get to know people, you're meeting people, networking, do these people that you want to know and could know want to know you?
I love that.
Think about that.
Yeah. And I would assume that with the clients that you work with, a lot of them don't know who they are.
No, the main thing I work on is finding self-worth, purpose, self-love, working on their relationships with self. Because at the end of the day, the relationship with self, that is then ripple affected out into their entire life. Like who the fuck is going to respect you if you don't respect yourself? If you don't love yourself, how can you expect anyone to love you?
That's a really beautiful part as well, because a lot of us, especially people who feel loneliness, and we watch it in the movies, you complete me. They think that by coming together with another, that is going to build a whole. But if 2 half humans are coming together, you've only still got half. Where's the rest? So when it comes back to understanding you, love, appreciation, worth, value, that's becoming a whole human inside to then go and be able to attract someone of that level and create a whole. But a lot of people forget that.
I'm sure you've seen Barbie.
I have seen my daughter.
So there was a moment there
twice.
that I think a lot of people got it wrong about the message that was being projected in there, is that at one point, and look, I do men's work, right? So I'm looking at some of them and I'm like, oh, this is rough. But at the same time, there was just teaching men near the end there where Ken's wearing the knuff. I'm knuff.
I'm knuff.
That is a huge message there saying, men, you're enough without the women, and women, you're enough without the men.
Yeah. That end message was really beautiful.
That was cool. That was really cool to say, if we work in unison together, but first work on yourself. And then, as Kiani said, two whole people coming together. That's incredible. That's where it's at. And I know that's why my fiance and I came together so quickly and it all happened so quickly, is because we'd both done so much work and we're so full. And look, you would know this. We go deeper with our relationships too.
Yeah. But we also continue to do the work.
Yeah.
It's not just going, hey, I've done the work. I'm going to meet you. We're going to be great together.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. It's like, no, fuck no. This is where the work starts. Because the minute we start relating intimately, that's when all the shit comes up.
Yep.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
As you just said, they're the mirrors.
Yep.
When we find the mirror and we have to stare ourselves right in the face and be like, that's me.
And it's been incredible relating it to business, is that having such a, I feel the emotion come up every time I talk about this. She just backs me nonstop, like no matter what. And we talk about mirrors, right? And reflections on shadows within ourselves or just insecurities, is that my part of me didn't believe that she actually backed me, because I was so used to no one backing me because I didn't back myself.
Correct.
So all of a sudden I've got this woman who's in my corner like, yeah, babe, that's
Championing
awesome.
you.
You're amazing. And in the beginning it was uncomfortable. I was like, oh, don't say those things. Like, I don't believe you. Rah. I didn't say that to her, but I felt that.
Yeah. That's
and
the
eventually,
internal insecurity.
100%. And she was bringing up that by saying it and doing it and being it.
And it's such a lovely thing, but yet it's creating discomfort in you. A lot of people would feel that and be like, that's wrong. Shut it down.
Yep.
But instead, you met it head on.
I had an open conversation about it.
Yeah.
We have, when we're eating, it needs to be conscious, connected time. There's no sitting on your phone. Like sometimes we watch TV and stuff, right? But she loves to have phones down, TVs off, and we get to talk during dinner and things like that. And it was just this really beautiful conversation of just saying exactly what was coming up around things of I'd moved in and I had my own little cave spot where I like to escape to intentionally to, because I give so much energy to everyone. I need to give it to myself. So it was like me going and sitting in there, I was so used to it. But then she started coming in with our sausage dog, Lou. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, what is this? Why are they in my space?
What are you doing in my space?
Right.
It's an invasion.
And I felt that discomfort, but I just voiced it straight away.
Yeah. And for her, she's showing you her version of unconditional love because she wants you to know that you're not alone. She wants you to know that she's there. Her intentions are so pure and beautiful in that moment, but because it's simply bringing a rise out of you because it's uncomfortable or unfamiliar, this is what you teach the men that you work with. Have the hard conversation because they're not doing it to piss you off. I promise you. I promise you, when you're with the right woman, they're doing it from a place of love, and this is their version of nurture, their version of care. So it's a conversation.
Yeah, and I love it. And I think the most important aspect of Christelle is that she's so divinely within her feminine, but also steps into her masculine where she needs to. She's an incredible professional musician. She's a teacher.
She's talented.
Right?
Is there anything she can't do?
I don't think so. Right. And
I mean, awe of that woman.
But okay, so I've just said these things, right? And that just brought up a thing. How often do people talk shit about their partner in public and don't actually just gas them up?
Yeah.
All they do is whinge about, such and such doesn't do this and they don't do this. And they actually look at the worm in the apple rather than the entire apple.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, I saw it in a book the other day and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I thought, wow, how many relationships have gone down the shitter because all they've looked at is that stupid little worm that's going through this giant, big, juicy apple.
Yeah.
They're looking at these holes and this little filthy thing that is maybe 5% of that 100% of that beautiful human.
And as we know, the negative is so much louder. So that tiny little worm at 5% can become 50% really freaking quickly.
Unless you pick
that's
it out.
the only thing we shine light on. So yeah, pick that fucker out. But question, with that wiggly little worm, would that be the place to start to have a conversation?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's like face it head on.
Right. So is it something to be said in, everyone's going to annoy us at some point in time. Some point in time. No one's perfect. I'm sorry to break it to you, but there is no Prince Charming out there. However, the items or the areas that create or cause frustration or discomfort, would that be a great place with having a conscious conversation, not your fucking feet smell, would you go and have a shower?
Why don't you ever clean up after yourself?
Yeah, correct. Like there's unhealthy ways to do it, but there's healthy ways to do it, right? And I guess this is what you teach your student. What do you call them? They're not students.
My humans.
Students.
My human. I'm a human helper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the label of coach or mentor is just so people know what I do, right?
It's fluffy. We've spoken about this. There was so much resistance.
Yeah.
That fucking word. I'm a human helper.
Yeah.
Great. We are uncovering the unconscious and bringing it to the conscious awareness for the humans that we interact with.
The thing that's come through for me, the most important tip around any conversation based off that, it's not you make me feel, it's this is how I feel when this happens.
Yeah.
That's the greatest tip I can give anyone is stop trying to project on everyone because think about the fact that what we see in others is most of the time seen within ourselves.
Is that bloody mirror again?
Right. So, and it could be past versions of you, but there's these piece around where it's like, don't just sit there and go, oh, you do this and you don't. It's like, hey, hold on a second. You're being triggered.
That's right.
Lean into your own trigger and stop blaming everyone else for it. Because this is something I spoke about today in this video I posted where this awesome young dude who most people would say, oh, he's such a dork. But the thing he said was so incredible where this person walks in front of the camera and the guy's like, oh, he walked in front of us like we're not even recording. It's like, bro, you're in a public space for one. And this guy just responds going, oh, don't blame them. They're probably just in their own world. Like they've got their own shit going on. Like how can you sit here and judge him when he's probably just struggling with the fact that maybe his best mate just passed away?
Yeah, you don't know.
He's just walking. And you sit here and create your own story of, oh, they don't even care about that we're trying to run a business or whatever. It's like, bro, we are humans doing the best we can with the knowledge we have. And we're processing millions of bits of information at a time, which, you go off that stat that recently came out where we apparently now in an hour or 2 hours are receiving more information into our brain than 100 years ago they did in their entire lifetime.
Holy bejesus.
Right? So think about
no
how
wonder
much
I'm so exhausted at nighttime.
everyone's brain is going
I'm like
through
a
so many things.
supercomputer.
Yeah, well exactly. Like
And
so
think about our kids. Holy Batman.
that's a whole other kettle of fish, right?
That's scary.
And we talk about the reflection of us to our kids. Like I don't have kids yet. I know I will, and I know I'll be an incredible dad. But I also watch so many friends and how hard it is.
No one gives you the truth about how hard it is. And even when they do, you still don't want to hear it because you're like, no, my kids will be brilliant. My kids will be perfect.
I've done so much work.
I've done all this. I'm a whole human.
Yeah.
The one thing that those little fuckers can do is find that tiny little crack and make it a gaping hole.
Yeah.
But no, look, again, they're on their own journey. They are, and I know for me, my children, they are here to teach me. No one in this lifetime has taught me as much as they have. And yet here I am being the parent supposed to be teaching them. No. My job is to keep them safe. Keep them safe. Teach them values. Teach them, the basics in life. Be a good human. Be kind. Lead with love. They're the real teachers. They are absolutely the real teachers. They teach me instantly about myself, about how I show up. My son even used one of my own lines on me the other day. I was like,
oh, how'd that feel?
Kobe, because I was getting frustrated about something. I can't even remember what it was. And Summer was talking back and I was like, Summer. And then I turned to Kobe and I was like, right, you got to do your room. And he looks at me and goes, Mum, is your cup a bit full?
Ooh.
I was like, I'm so proud of you.
There was pride, but also...
But really?
Fuck wit.
Wrong timing. But I sat on the bed and I was like, you know what, mate? My cup is really full. Do you think there's something you could possibly do to help me with that? He's like, sure, Mum, what do you need? I'm like, clean your room.
Nice. Yeah, I love that he said, did he actually say, what do you need?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because again, he's just mirroring
What do you need from me right now?
What do you need from me right now?
Christelle says that all the time.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's such an important like boundary setter of what do you need in this moment from me? Do you need support or solutions?
And the beautiful thing behind that statement as well is sometimes that statement can come from someone who feels as though the discomfort or the disruption is projected at them. So as well as it's asking, what do you need from me? It's also saying, have I done anything? You know, this is also me, instead of going, what's wrong? What have I done? It's going, do you need anything from me? Because if they say, yeah, I need you to stop doing blah, 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 you go, great, okay, that's directed at me. But if they go, no, I'm just really pissed, this blah, 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 you go, okay, it's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I've offered my assistance. I now know, retreat, he doesn't need me. And by interfering, I'm going to make it worse.
Oof. That's gold.
Cool, hey?
That's epic, yeah. It's I also, one thing I do my best to share with a lot of people is taking radical responsibility, what Jocko Willink has said before. I take responsibility for like everything in my life, to the point of, even if it's someone else that's affected me, I take responsibility to respond to what they've done to me, because I have full control of it then.
Yeah.
If we go ahead and put everything outside of us and victimize ourselves within everything, then we can't move through it. How can we expect to? And a lot of people struggle with this, right? The cause and effect of aspect is that, but I was, abused as a child. Okay, that's horrible, I know. But can you take responsibility for you to be able to change your life because it's your life? And
it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
So, it's that cause and effect.
Yeah.
It has happened. That story, hopefully, has finished. Let's start a new one.
Yep. And it's not easy. I get that.
No. God, no. It's great and easy to talk about. But
right, yeah.
in it, it's totally different. Totally different.
So, and the reason I speak on that so openly is that I've literally helped people through those type of things. I've helped men in 3 days at a retreat with our Heart-Led Warriors brand through things like that. So I know it can be done. And I'm not to say, look, I'm not going to sit here and say, 3 days and you're healed. That is not the case.
No.
But it's a massive kick up the ass to help you on your journey of rediscovery, we say. It's not healing or fixing yourself, because you're perfect as you are. You were born perfect. You were just given all these programmings, beliefs and illusions.
All the shit on top.
to make you think you're not whole, right?
Yeah.
So it's more of a rediscovery than a shedding. And we talk about that with weight too. It's like everyone wants to lose weight. All they're focused on is making money and losing weight in life. It's like, bro, there's more to life. Also, it's not losing anything. You are whole. It's a release of emotions and feelings, all these other things. You'll actually watch your weight drop off most times.
100%. And the beautiful thing I love that you mentioned, especially like this, what you guys do with Heart-Led Warriors is inspiring.
Thank you.
And we are really grateful to live in a world and in a generation where this is acceptable and encouraged. Men, even more so, really do need that healthy support and release. For too long, they've been shut down, don't feel, don't speak. Yes, you can be angry because you're a man and you're allowed to be angry, but don't talk about your fucking emotions. That's just too much, I'm not here to be your mum. Just shut up and do your job and make the money and come home and be quiet. But you're giving these men a beautiful platform and a safe environment to, yes, it's 3 days. And no, they're not going to heal, but you're right, they're going to pull the Band-Aid off. They're going to start to look at things that they've never looked at and start to understand why they are the way they are, why they behave in the way they behave, and where could I be showing up? Where could I be taking responsibility? Where could I be sharing where I'm not? And that could lead to X, Y, and Z. But do you see, for a lot of these men, and this is where I feel like your one-on-one work is really important, because for a lot of people, they've never looked at this stuff before. So going to a 3-day event like that can be really confronting. And especially if you go in and you go, leave all the expectations at the door. I'm going full hog, I'm going to break, right?
And it's full on.
Then there's an integration phase.
Yep.
And then beyond that, it's really freaking easy to go back home and just flip back into normal life and be like, oh, that was fun. Won't do that again. Great. But that for me is the stepping stone of going, hey, I'm just going to lift up the Band-Aid. But beyond that, integration and help. Consistent
Accountability.
help. And that's the biggest thing you see in the men?
It's the accountability, and just honestly a check-in here and there works. We obviously say to them all, look, 100% one-on-one coaching, group coaching is going to help you so much.
Yeah.
But we don't sit there and sell it to them.
Of course. No.
We're not here for that. We know that the men that want to do that work, they'll come to us, which they do constantly. We've always got clients because they see what we're able to do, which this is segued perfectly into what's just happened in the last 24 hours or so.
Thank me later.
And what just happened before. Now, I'll preface this with the fact that as much as Kiani is a good friend of mine and now an incredible mentor of mine, by all means, I'm not gassing her up for the sake of gassing her up right now, but I need to. So,
okay, I didn't realize this story was about me.
First of all, thank you so much for your guidance. We talk about accountability and mentorship for men. To have it from an incredible woman that is so embodied within her work has helped me see my weaknesses and my strengths. You haven't pointed them out. You've just reflected so much for me. You've actually shown me what's possible. So, and we've been together for 6 weeks. Yeah. We haven't even we're just getting started.
We're just getting to know each other.
But just having your support emotionally in business, the humanizing of it all, right? You've made me realize that it is much simpler and easy than I would have ever thought. That what you said yesterday about me selling myself on the corner right now with the way I'm doing it has changed everything. That has visibly in my mind, in my body, in my heart, now made me realize what I'm actually capable of with myself, but my brand too. Yeah. So the reason I mentioned that also.
The look, I'm like, oh, okay.
What's happened in the last 24 hours is inconceivable.
Right now.
I've signed on that finance company
yeah,
much quicker than it was supposed to happen. I was meant to have a call next week, but they just like, oh, we can get you in tomorrow or today after our call. And then I had some incredible client calls and one last night that just rocked me, absolutely rattled me. Now, I feel confident that I could read this out for everyone to hear because this is really important. I've asked her for her consent. Which is the mother of this young man that I helped. She messaged me on socials. I think she's actually just created an Instagram literally just to message me. And I won't say names or anything to still keep it anonymous, but basically I'm going to fucking cry reading this.
Please do.
So just for context for anyone listening, I put up a story saying how I just finished my last session with a young man. I believe he's 23, and that was around the time that I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah,
so
at that age
was when I was like really struggling. Very, very long story short, I'd finished up with the Broncos at 17 and quit football. And then I went on a self-destruction path, trying to figure my life out. Identity, purpose, all the things, right?
Mm-hmm. What am I without football?
Yeah, and I shared a really vulnerable story after it, just saying, I was crying because I just thought, man, imagine if I had me at that age, someone like me at that age. Then that just hit me and that stuck with me. And then I've had all these beautiful messages from his mum, his auntie, his uncle, lots of other people that I don't even know that are like, man, I love you so much. And I'm like, I don't know you, but thank you. I love you too. And then to read this message before rattled me and something else happened after it. So
is this his mum?
Yep. Yeah. And I've never spoken to her.
Wow.
I've been working with him for a couple of months now.
Yeah. And he's reached out to you. He wanted to do the work. He's shown up.
He made it happen. I made it really affordable. He couldn't really afford it, but I just let's do the best payment plan we can make work.
Yeah.
Because again,
it's not about the money.
No, I just wanted to help him. So good morning, Trav. That young lad you are speaking of here in your story is my son, ! My son who I finally have back because of you. My son who I don't worry about as much anymore because of you. My son who has found himself and his importance in life because of you. Thank you is not enough. Please know how grateful I am for what you've done for him. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for everything you do. And most importantly, thank you for saving my son. We love what you do. He's so lucky, and I'm glad we got pointed in your way. It's been a tough road, but the best road he has ever taken. So thank you. Yeah, and that was awesome. Awesome. Like it just opened my heart up like crazy.
And that goes beyond saving a life.
That makes my year.
Oh, man.
Like
That's why we do it.
Yeah. And, you know, on top of that, I've signed a new client as well in the last 24 hours for our new price that we've come up with, which felt really comfortable and all these things, right? But then after that, after I read that just before, while you guys were up here recording the podcast, I reached out to a good mate of mine, and a really good friend of his has just passed through the way that we don't want men to be going from this world, which is why I do what I do. And he was really struggling. He's really struggling with it, like blaming himself, all these things, right? And he said something around he'd seen him, I believe, the day before it happened. And then something just came through my head, into my body, into my heart. I started tearing up, and I messaged him. I said, bro, I think he'd been planning this for a while and wanted to see one of his best mates before he was gone. And I just started bawling, and he said the same thing, and it was like confirmation that that was the thing. It was that he found his peace, as hard as it is for these things to happen.
And for some of us, we won't ever understand it.
But
for him, that's what felt right.
Yeah, and he got to spend time with someone he loves before it all happened, right? So...
and that's a beautiful notion for your friend to now embody and live with, which, I mean, nothing will change what's happened. Nothing will bring him back. But as you said, your friend going into guilt and blaming himself.
Big time.
That is going to be with him for a lifetime.
That relieved him completely.
Yeah, so in that moment of you feeling what you felt intuitively and then creating the bravery to speak out and say that, again, it's the impact that we have on others.
It's something I realised this morning driving here. I thought about how much people whinge about how many coaches and mentors and things there are in this space. Then I sat there, and in my full like self-love, self-worth, self-purpose, the song that was on, I was like, it doesn't fucking matter how many people there are. No one's like me.
It's so true.
No one does what I do.
The uniqueness in each,
Who can channel a message while you're having a conversation about random things? Like, and this is the thing, when I'm with clients and I'm going through a session with them, it might be planned out that today we're doing shadow questions about worth, self-worth, money, all these things, right? And though they might say something that clicks in my mind and I go, oh, that's interesting. Let's go into that for a second. All of a sudden, we're back when they're 6 years old, and they're, for example, the other day, a client went back to when he was 7 years old and he got told off by a teacher at his old school that he wasn't good enough. And that carried through to 42 years old.
Yeah, that shit lands, hey?
Right? And this is what you did with me. Like, I was 6 years old sitting on my bed with myself, and I'd told myself a story that I'm only worthy if I'm doing well in life.
Yeah, and playing football, impressing your parents. Yeah.
So there was a good reason why there was a push and pull on, do I play football? Do I not play football? Because football gave me love. That's what my unconscious told me.
Yeah.
So for me to then throw that away, a massive part of me was like, oh my God, how are you ever going to get love again? You just gave away the thing that gives you love. You're going to have to find something now that gets you love.
Yeah. And then the beautiful part about that is allowing you to go into it, and you went into it so beautifully and open, but it was what happened after. In the days and the weeks leading after, it's almost like there's bubbles in the air, and each one of those bubbles is a memory or a situation or a circumstance that's happened. And by opening up this wound that you've been carrying for such a long time, and same thing with your client, it's like all of these bubbles start to appear, and it's like, pop, pop, I now know why I did that. I now know why that happened. Oh my goodness, holy shit, I don't need to carry this anymore. And the unwavering self-worth and self-love that came, especially that I witnessed in your shift. It was I am here, I deserve to be here, and I'm going to, as you said, I'm going to own the space that I take up because I deserve that. And what man doesn't want to feel that?
And it's really sad how many don't.
Correct.
People would be blown away by the percentage. If I throw a random percentage out there, I would say 98% of men I meet are struggling with self-worth. They can't even look themselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's one task I give in the first week is Ho'oponopono, which is like, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. And they say that over and over again in the mirror. And it's tough. And it's also weird for them because a lot of men aren't into spirituality like I am. Although by the end of it they are. Because they realize what a bit of breath work, meditation, journaling, shadow questions can literally do to change their life.
And you made a really important comment before. Outside of the uniqueness that you bring and the support that you can give, I've been in the same mindset around, there's so many coaches and there's so many this. And I had a real aversion to it. And I joked about it before about fucking coaches and my blah, blah, blah. But in what you just said right then, in what you just said off the back of a conversation around someone committing suicide, 98% of men not being able to look themselves in the mirror, like those kinds of things, go, fuck it. The more coaches, the more consciously aware humans we have. And if they want to be a coach, I'm hoping like hell that means there's some way doing the work. Great. That's going to help one person, even if it helps one person's life. Let's do it. Let's take on this challenge and let's fucking change the world one coach at a time.
I agree. You literally call them what you want.
That's right.
If there's more people helping people.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yeah. Stop taking, start giving. We're going to be a really happy society. And then Cam before. Stop taking, start giving, have great sex.
I love that. It's and Cam and what he does around sex, like as a sexologist, that is actually a huge part for men too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cam Fraser's another one of my guests who I don't know the order of episodes that are coming out. So either before or after Trav, not sure. But he's a sexologist and he works with men. So he's a men's sex coach.
And he had incredible energy. He's a beautiful dude. Really, I can tell we're already going to connect.
100%. So. And a beautiful recommendation for clients of yours who are struggling in that area and want some extra help.
That's a great point. He could be included into the Rewire program.
There you go. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
It is. And I've talked about this where as much as I know what value I give, what if I can just give more? Especially
in areas where we are not the expert.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd love to learn about becoming a sexologist, that's not where my passion sits. So I know for me, and you are very similar, we're ethical in the way that we treat our clients, and we take this role of being a mentor or a coach really fucking seriously, and that I won't give advice in an area that I am not licensed to give advice.
Yep.
I will not give advice that Cam as a sexologist would come and give. I can talk about personal experiences, I can talk about lived experience, and I can talk about learned experiences. But there are times, and this is why this nature of surrounding yourself with the right people, who you share your energy with, the people in your pond, you are the average of the 5 people closest to you. All of those, sayings are so important because that creates a community, that creates opportunity. And just like you said, bring him into the Rewire program. Hell yes. Why wouldn't you? Because that then brings your clients a level of expertise that you and I can't do.
And all you do is say, hey, mate, do you want to do like a one-off Zoom session for one of the weeks that we do the 8-week program with?
Exactly right. And someone like him, say yes, absolutely. Yeah. The point I'm making is that, again, to get back to the conversation about mentors and coaches, there is a lot of coaches and mentors that are, I do everything. I've read a book. I can teach it to you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, have you, can you, should you?
Should, yeah.
Because you're messing with the human psyche, right? So the beautiful thing that I love and respect about the work that you do with both men and women is that you don't teach them anything that you would not and don't already do on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is ethical boundaries right there.
It's that congruency piece, right?
100%. And this is why I love as well, we've spoken about heart-led warriors, but then you've got Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And that is an incredible resource and program for both men and women in a totally different environment, different light, different experience.
Yeah, different people. And it's like this, we wanted an event that it's not necessarily entry level, but it's a 6-hour event that just opens your world up to what's actually possible. What is actually possible if you talk to an energetic version of your dad that you've got a wound around, and we hold that space for you. And Christy brings up the energetics of it, and it's like you're literally back there as a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's held so safely by us and in a room full of other people that we've set the container to be safe. You're always safe. You're protected. You're fine. Your nervous system's good. We can understand all of that, like the human and the energetics. So we then also, which I've noticed that some events might not do, is that we provide so much aftercare.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cheap event. You know, we do it for like $150.
Not cheap, valuable.
Valuable, yes. Yeah, price-wise, like it's very affordable.
Affordable, there you go,
But
that's a better
the
word.
value of it is nuts. Yeah, great. Thank you for that rephrase. Because it is like to get myself, Christy, Chris, who we normally have as well, as an incredible coach himself and breathwork facilitator. My beautiful fiance, who's also a coach and a sound healer, professional musician. And Lily, a professional bloody chef who's cooked for Billie Eilish. Like
That's
you get it
incredible.
catered, right? So you're getting all of this
Yeah.
for 6 or 7 hours
Yeah, that's incredible.
for $150.
Yeah.
So,
Value.
and though, again, value. And we provide, Christy and I'll do then 2 group Zooms after it. So it's the little things.
Yeah, that's
It's the
really
little
important
things.
thing that you mentioned too. And we spoke about it slightly off the back of Heart-Led Warriors and the integration. And then, you're not selling coaching. That's not the plan of these events. These events are for the people that are there on the day. Integration is so important. And a lot of people maybe overlook the integration. As I said before, we kind of leave and go back into our lives, and it's very easy to just flop aside. Sometimes the integration can be really beautiful and we can have insights. Other times it can be really rough. It can be, holy shit, I've just realized that this has happened. Just realized, and it can be quite confronting. And so aftercare, which you're right, not many events have that level of aftercare that you guys offer. It's so important because we all have trauma differently. We all store trauma differently, and we all release it differently.
Different stressful lives with families, work, and all the things.
100%. So for a lot of people, that integration phase is almost not possible. So having the extra level is really important. But as we've spoken about as well, coaching one-on-one, and you've already said that you like to accommodate from a financial perspective for people. What do you believe is the most beneficial, number one benefit from someone going and reaching out and getting a coach to work around, I'm going to call it the mind?
It's a great question. And the first word that popped in was the support. It's the unwavering support. I know, I'll talk about me personally, is that imagine just having someone in your pocket that when things go wrong, you can just message. Yeah. That's huge. And I know people say, I can use a friend for that. Can you? Do they have the abilities, the knowledge and the energetics to support you within that?
And is that their job?
Yeah. No.
They've got their own shit going on.
Right.
A lot of people use their partner.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of that at all.
Again, not their job.
No.
They're there to love you, yes, unconditionally, and yes, there's things to talk to. But if you use your partner as a therapist, as a recruitment agent,
Problem
as
solver, business manager,
all those things, where's the time for them to be a partner?
That lands as well, because I realize now why Christelle feels so safe. She's always asking, like, how's my day gone? How am I? And all these things. And 99% of the time, I can just happily just be like, this happened. There's never I just don't know what to do here. And there's no dumping of
That's
that.
the word.
Yeah.
That's the word.
There's no just big like, here, take this. And I know she would, 100%.
Of course she would.
I know she would, but I also don't want her to or need her to.
Yeah.
So I utilize my incredible environment I've created. I talk about this very often, and this is then an answer to that question as well. What does your environment look like? Think about this. I brought Kiani on 6-7 weeks ago. I'm not saying it's just because of her.
Or maybe it is.
But maybe it is. I've felt a shift in everything I do because I'm around someone who I perceive as is doing the things I want to be doing. So by being within her energetic presence even, I've lifted. I've become better. I've met people through Kiani. And I'm sure vice versa. And it'll just keep going back and forward. But think about your environment and think about who you're around, because environment will trump will always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a big one. Is like first thing I make sure of is who are the friends you're around with. And I'm not telling people to just go kick their mates out, because like I still love my mates.
Don't ditch the high school buddies. They're there for a reason. But
I'm still happy to go and have a beer and watch the UFC with the boys when I can, when I've got time. But most of my time is spent now with creators, entrepreneurs, business people that want to come up with ideas. How can we make impact? How can we help people? How can we change lives? They're the people I need to be around now because I want to for my growth.
Yeah.
So my environment dictates then how I show up. You know, so it's not the other way around. If I tried to be Trav, the technician, around someone that's super negative all the time, doesn't like business, how the fuck am I going to grow?
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So by bringing in mentors and like-minded people, you change your life literally just by the mere presence of that new human in your life. You know?
Absolutely. And the thing we noticed even today before walking into this studio, into this room, was the conversation that we had that flowed so naturally with Chloe. You just know the level of conversation is so much deeper. There's no complaining. And if there is complaining, it's complaining from a place of what can I do to help?
Where's a solution?
Yeah. It's different, right?
Oh, even I've just realized something too. As soon as I said yes to you, my next client was a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Right. It was pretty much the same week.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
And again, this goes back to when I spoke about this with Cam, is that where we are as a human, and I'm going to say energetically, even though some may not resonate with that, we attract from that place. If we're in the dumps, we're going to attract from that place. If we're flowing through life, we attract through that place. We sat down yesterday and got really, really clear on your client avatar, because we're like, that is exactly who we're going to invite in. And I bet my bottom dollar in the next couple of weeks we're going to have that person in our hand.
Agreed.
Because we're being specific. And when we are specific, our language is so directed. You spoke earlier. There was a video that popped up and you said this guy within 20 seconds was speaking to your soul. And that is how we as humans interact. And when we are with those people that speak in our language, or at least speak in that language that we wish to have, we're attracted to them. We're attracted to their energy. We're attracted to their dynamic. We're attracted to the way that they carry themselves and the energy that they put out. And you're right, we don't have to just go and cut people off at the side, but we really do at least observe, have a bird's eye view look on who are we spending our time with? And not that we need to cut ties, but it's going, I'm not going to take that on. They may not think the same as me or talk the same as me. I definitely don't have to argue with them about it. But I also don't have to take it on. You know, we're humans. We can tune out.
Well, you just reminded me one of the coolest lines I've come up with when I was talking to Toddy, good friend of ours, Toddy Jarrett, shout out. And
Legend.
On my journey to here over the last 2.5 years was a big part with him. I remember one thing I said one day when we were sitting out on his balcony in Alex there, and he always loved it, was you can take it in, but you don't have to take it on.
I love that.
And I've never forgotten it, because now it's expanded to me saying that I don't take on reviews of other people's opinions on movies, but that's also then reflected in, I don't take in opinions of people or things or whatever, because I want to create my own.
Yeah.
Because until I see that movie, let's say per se, person, thing, whatever, food, my reality is completely different to anyone else.
100%.
There may be people say, oh, the truth. What fucking truth?
Whose truth?
Whose truth is it? My world and my reality is so defined by me, because I'm so happy with who I am and I know myself. I don't like really hard training. The men that we're with in Hard Led Warriors, the boys are doing the whole like, let's do a 5K row for time. And I'm like, nah, boys, I'm not doing it.
Can we just do some stretching?
And again, people might say, oh, because you're lazy. It's like, no, bro, it's not in my value system. Like, I don't want to destroy my body. I don't enjoy it. Yeah. So I don't see time for it or a point for it. And I will comfortably say that. Yeah. I've busted my ass my entire life training, playing football.
And as you said, that's your views because of your experiences and because of your life. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Literally nothing wrong.
And if someone else has got a different set of beliefs or a different view, that's okay
but
too.
Kiani, you have to think the way I think. What do you mean?
If you don't think the way I think, we're wrong. Yeah.
And this will very easily flow on effect into business too.
Absolutely.
Because this is how you differentiate yourself from the market. Think fucking differently. Mm-hmm. Why isn't it that your beliefs and views on how it should be run, why can't that be the thing? Why do you have to go on YouTube and say, how do I run a coffee shop? I get the foundations of it work. Cool. Understand that. But why not bring your own sauce into it? You know what I mean? Like I've talked to a few people recently who own businesses, and I've given them ideas based off my outside view. Yeah. And they don't have to take it on. But I was just coming from my place of the technician and the way I see things. And they were like, oh my God, I never would have thought of that. Yeah. I'm like, cool. Then either take it or don't. I don't care.
Totally. Take everything with a grain of salt. Everything.
Take it in, don't take it on.
100%. I love that. And my version of that in a different, same but different, care, don't carry. Yeah. So again, it's like, I'm going to care for you or care with you, but I'm not going to carry you. Mm-hmm. Take it in, take it on.
That goes for coaches and mentors.
100%.
I've got at the moment, I believe 10 clients. If I took on all of their stuff,
oh my God,
I'd be a miserable heap.
I don't know if I'd be able to get you out of that. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Yeah. Right?
I was doing that when I first started.
Again, it's a learning process.
Yeah. I'm so compassionate.
And you're an empath.
So empathetic. And I was like, oh, let me save you. Yes. Come here, baby.
Let me carry you through the thick waters. Yeah. Let me just be there out there with you.
And it's like, well, at what point do you stop taking the piss and stop being a people pleaser and actually just serve people? You're not the helper and you're not a fucking hero that's rescuing people.
This isn't an action movie.
No, because and this is a negative trait within some people where they become this circle of hero, savior. They're trying to save everyone, because they're coming from their own not having any self-worth. So the worth comes from being the savior for others. Yeah. You'll notice there's always those people that love being around drama because they can try to save everyone. There's always that one man that's like, I'm gonna save this poor damsel.
Yeah, pretty woman style.
Yeah, I'll pay for all her things and do all these things,
and then she'll love me.
Yeah, right. And then they hate her because she leaves him because of this, and this. Like, well, bro, you never actually got to know her. Yeah. And actually allow her to have her own experience of healing and moving through the things.
You put yours on her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, I love that. That's so good. And this is where it comes back to, as you said, the number one thing being accountability. You've got support with people. I mean, being a coach, having a coach, you've got the support. You've got support in your pocket, as you said. But then it's going, hey, first and foremost, be accountable. Be accountable for your actions. Be accountable for who you are, how you show up, and what it is that you are bringing to the table.
Something just dropped in.
Do it.
Here it is. The reason I would say is the most important aspect of having a coach, mentor, whatever it might be. Would you rather sit there for hours and make the bread or go and buy it from the shop? Would you rather try and figure it out for the next 8 years or have someone tell you in 2 minutes who spent 8 years going through it and learning how to move through it? I know what I'm picking.
Yeah.
I don't care how much it costs. I'm going to say, hey, can you show me how, well, exactly what I've done. Kiani, can you show me how to run a successful business? I don't want to spend the next, how long's it taken you to get to this point?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a little while now.
Right. So why would I not ask someone who's already been through it and come out the other side and has all the resources, tools, tips and tactics from the technician who could just give you all of that every time you ask a question?
And the important thing in there as well is a good coach and mentor.
Yes. Yeah.
They'll give it to you, but they'll ingrain it in you.
They won't do it for you.
As I said to you, it's like, I can give you these things, but you have to implement it.
Yep.
You have to execute it. You have to be the one to put the action in so that it's so deeply ingrained in your body that you don't need me anymore. Because I'm not doing my job if you still need me in 12 months' time. That's carrying.
Yep.
Caring is going, right, boom, here it is. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to make sure that you know exactly what's going on. This is what I want you to deliver me. You've got to do the work.
Something Laura said yesterday. Laura's amazing, by the way.
Isn't she incredible? Yep.
From Lifestyle. And she said something around, and I did this in the beginning, and this is for anyone that is in the service industry, especially coaches. You're potentially going to get to a point in the beginning, or you might still be doing it, where you're just taking any client you can. Doesn't matter who they are, what the avatar is, personality types, psychographic, all the things. And you might be calling in clients that you literally have to baby the entire way. You have to check in every single day, and you might get a really crappy review at the end because they just didn't do the things and they blame that on you. Yeah. So think about also, at what level do you want to serve? You know, what sort of clients do you want to call in that are actually going to do the work? Because again, I believe I can help anyone and everyone. I want to, but I can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's other people that, because I also believe heavily in the professional industry of psychologists, psychotherapists, all the things, counselors. I have love for anyone that's helping anyone in the capacity. And though I know what I do is so different, and that will work with certain people.
Yes.
And I also know what I'm capable of. So I'm not going to work with someone who needs a psychologist. Or maybe work together. You know what I mean? So it's just think about who you're calling in and who you are as a person. Because if you're calling in clients, again, that you have to carry the entire way, that's not even coaching.
And there is, to me, there's a fundamental part in here that I had to learn through a different dynamic and situation. But it's, if you do take on that client that you do have to carry and you do have to like pull through the mud and you do have to, and then potentially say you go, hey, well, let's do it for 12 months and they don't get there in 12 months. So you go, oh shit, I didn't give them what they need. Let's do another 6 months. Let's just keep going. All you're doing is enabling their behavior. So you're not becoming a part of the solution. You're actually now part of the problem.
Oof.
And that's then coming back to the coaches being like, take responsibility, because if you're not helping them, you're hindering them. So it's a bit like relationships. I was unfortunately in a very toxic and abusive relationship where he was an addict. And I learnt the hard way that by me constantly giving chance after chance after chance, all I was doing was enabling it, because there was no repercussions for his actions other than an upset partner when he got home. Is that teaching him to not do the same thing again? And then if roles were reversed, am I going to teach the same thing to my son? Fuck no. So again, as coaches, why the fuck are we allowing it to happen with our clients?
You better clip that part. That was epic. And it just relates straight back to my good mates that I work with and have so much love for, is Nadine and Dane. And Dane, who is now one of the most powerful dudes I know and one of my best mates, just 2 years ago, he was ready to end it all. And, you know, we as partners, and we talk about this at the workshop with the men and the women, and it's like how to navigate a situation where your partner might be struggling. And there's moments where you need to support, and you might be going against the grain with some things, but the words that really landed for Dane, and they say this very openly, was when Nadine basically said, no one's fucking coming.
Yeah, no one's coming to save you.
No one's coming to save you. You know, and that's what he hated her in the first couple of days after it. But then he was like, man, she's right. What am I doing? Yeah. I've been sitting in this state of like victim and woe is me. And look, a lot of it's justified because we live some pretty tough lives. I've been depressed for many, many years before.
And we will find justifications, don't worry.
Yeah, of course. But that moment was for him to say, okay, I need to pick myself up and go, and then get the support I need because I'm open to it.
Yes.
You know, so that is big. So thank you for saying that, because it's so true. Because I was there. That's why I do what I do now, because I was one of the people that didn't feel like I was a burden to everyone.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for help. No one could help me.
That's right. And then part of that then goes, I have to show up, as you said, that kind of like hero state. It's like I have to show up and I have to help everyone because no one's going to help me except me. So I've got to be there. And I'm a fucking recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
Blech.
Same. Like what you said before really hit me, because I've done it before in the past where I would say it's an 8-week program, but because I felt like they needed a bit more, I was like, let's just do 2 more weeks.
Which now
I'm like, look, 8 weeks is done. Cool. If you want to continue on, we can go again.
Steps. Correct.
Otherwise, I see them. I've literally unlocked their next level. If they go work with someone else, that's cool.
Amazing.
It's got nothing to do with me.
100%.
I did what I needed to at that stage of their life.
And we evolve. I know that I had the most incredible performance consultants in my business, and they were with me for 5 years. Oof. And my business was a shell when they first came in. I was literally crying at midnight, typing an email to them being like, I can't do this. What the fuck am I ever? I'm a hamster on a wheel. I was like 26 with 2 kids, single mum, working 24/7. I never saw my kids. They were in daycare from like 6:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night time. And I was at my wit's end. And they came in and they taught me so much, like full crisis mode. They taught me so many things that I needed to do, and most of it came back to me. What was the biggest problem in my business? Me. So we fixed all of those things, and that was incredible. And the business got to a certain level that at that point in time I was like, amazing. And I held on to them for another couple of years, longer than I probably should have, because I started to then use them as a crutch. And I didn't make any decisions on my own because, they had to back me up. Or when I did make a decision, I'd be like, maybe I don't need to really think it through, because if I'm doing a stupid thing, they'll tell me, right? But I wasn't learning. So I got to a level where by having to say goodbye to them, far out, the elevation happened so naturally. So saying goodbye to a client is a bad thing. They didn't lose me. They won because of who I became because of them. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. And this is where that world of abundance comes from. It's like, I've given you what I'm capable of giving you, and now you're ready to step up to the next level. This is what we're doing with you at the moment. You've got a next level. Fuck yes, you do. Yeah. But if that next level doesn't align with the version of that you are now, and there is somewhere else, or you are capable of doing this on your own, like, that's fucking high five that shit. Like, that's incredible. We'll always have that place. We'll always hold a place of being a part of that journey. But that is, again, that's the world of abundance. It's we come here a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah, thank you. That was epic. You just brought up a really random memory. Have you ever seen Harry and the Hendersons?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I love that movie.
As you're saying that, I'm picturing when they're like trying to make Harry go off into the bush with his new family or his old family.
Yeah.
I'm like, go now. Get out of here. Yeah. And you're like throwing rocks and shit at him, like, get out of here. And it's so true. You literally, there's just a journey. You're part of their journey for a little bit on that road. And then at some point you get out of the car and let them keep driving. Absolutely. I like that.
Good lesson for you when you become a parent.
I don't know if I've now taken on, obviously, which is now our sausage dog, Lou. And I get that feeling of this must be similar, like a very basic level of what having a kid is like.
Dogs need things, yeah.
Yeah. Like you can't
Thank
just
God
leave.
they can't talk. They can bark though.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, but it's just that there's
Yeah.
so much learning
Responsibility.
in responsibility.
Yeah.
And even just knowing that I can't just randomly do what I want because I need to make sure he's looked after, he's fed. We can't just leave for a weekend. Like he's got to get looked after by someone.
Yeah.
All these little things. And I'm seeing, but I love it.
Yeah.
There's this level of me, there's this, because I've really stepped into my masculine last couple of years, I now get that because my biggest thing was commitment. I fucking hated commitment. Couldn't commit to relationships, couldn't commit to anything I would do. It even leaked into the way I played games. I wouldn't be able to stick with one NBA team. I'd have to create all these new teams all the time. So that's the level of commitment I was struggling with. Now that there is a commitment to self, which is committing to the new car, committing to you, committing to these things, whole fiance,
Dog,
all these things, that commitment to self has just ripple affected my entire life to the degree that I could never have thought it possible. So think about where you're not committing to yourself, where you're not loving yourself, and where you're not looking after yourself too.
yeah. The message is patch the hole within before trying to fix it out there.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why people try to externally fix things.
But I don't know any different.
Yeah,
You don't know what you don't know.
100%. And then that old saying of if nothing changes, right?
Yeah, someone raised it, I think, on yesterday's recording of the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different response. We're all fucking insane.
I have an algorithm that is just so elite right now with TikTok and Instagram. So when I do have a little scroll here and there, I just learn.
Yeah, cool.
And there was one video that came up that fucked me up. This
In
is
a good way, I hope.
In a good way. But it made me realize, and I've tried to share it with a few of my clients too, is that there's so many people, right, Kiani, watching what we do at all times. They know what we do. They know what we can do. They see the testimonials. They see the things. Most people don't want to do the work because they don't want to admit there was always a way to live the other way. They want to sit in the chaos and the pain because they don't want to actually admit that, holy shit, there is a solution to this life I've lived for the last 28 years, 45 years. Because imagine actually admitting that there was always a solution. You don't want to know. That's pain. That is painful. Yeah. For you to actually reach out and ask for help and change your life, that in itself is the pain that they avoid. Knowing there is actually a solution to it all.
Yeah, because it's a notion of like, I chose to sit in misery.
As imagine admitting
I don't
that
want to
to
admit
yourself.
to that.
Yeah. Imagine admitting that to other people. How stupid would you feel? How great would that feel?
Oh, yeah. It's a gift, isn't it? The paradoxical of what's on the other side. Because I know for me, it was in the, that old what if? What if? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? What if they don't love me? What if the blah, blah, blah? The frightening thing for me was, what if it does work? What if they do love me? What if I can do it? What if I am good enough? That idea of that world was like, oh shit, wow. This part of like self-doubt is so familiar and so comfy and so warm and just nourishing. This whole idea of like, what if it actually does work? What if it does work? Exciting, but really fucking scary too. Because like, what if I get everything that I've ever asked for?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fear of success is more common than fear of failure.
Yeah, wow.
Right? Like that, I had a fear of success.
Yeah.
I had a fear of what is actually possible if I go all in on what I've been given. And I'm seeing it unfold very fucking quick. Yeah. Like even me giving you the goal of wanting to have a space like this.
Yeah.
And now a day later, I'm
I was going to say,
sitting
how's
in
the
one.
alignment that's coming too around conversations of, oh, my friend's dad owns some of these.
Well, he literally owns it.
Yeah.
Like he, shout out to Blair that literally this is the area that he has all these industrial areas that, and I already feel it.
Yeah.
Me being in this. So this is for anyone that hears manifestation all the time. I love how we just jumped to whatever. It's been amazing.
This is the beauty of it.
It's the power of manifestation is first feeling what it would feel like to have that thing. So you hear this whole like, if you want to be a millionaire, anyone can be. You actually can. It's just that you have to raise your vibrational energy to that degree of those $1 million because money's energy. Yep. I know this now. Absolutely. I used to be horrible with money, but now I understand it. I love it and I get it.
You do.
So if you want to be with a certain person per se, or a certain thing like a new car or what I've just said, an industrial space where I can have a basketball court in my own office to help people, all those things, for me to actually obtain that and manifest it, I need to feel first, visualize it and feel what it would be like to be in a space like that. I'm feeling that feeling today.
You're experiencing it.
I'm experiencing it and I fucking love it. So now somewhere in the quantum, in a parallel universe somewhere, it's already happened.
Yep.
Now I'm just filling in the space by doing the things that need to happen. And you guess what's happened, guys? By me creating this goal on a piece of paper and speaking it out loud to Kiani, my heart, energetics, has created the blueprint universally for it to happen. So it's sent out this little wave to everything in our universe to bring in what needs to happen to make it happen. That conversation with my mate, I randomly got a stroke of, you need to message Blair on the way here. I sent him an audio on the way here going, hey brother, are you in this area? He's like, yeah, I'm just around the corner. I don't know what that's going to come to, but who's to say this isn't the start of it, right?
Absolutely. And that's you allowing to be open to giving the universe permission to bring you what you want.
Yeah, because I'm not afraid of it.
Nah, fuck no.
No, like anything can happen right now and I'm like, yeah, cool.
I love it.
I get that.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. We
have
so much fun stuff. And I know that we could do this for hours, but I'm going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely incredible.
It was sick.
It was so good. We knew it was going to be good. We knew we had to do it and it had to be in person. Wanting to wrap up though, I feel like it's really important to mention the men's retreat for Heart-Led Warriors. Follow that on its own Instagram, social media. Have a look at the bloody incredible videos that have been done too. So shout out to Sammy.
Sammy Rothaba. Wow.
Oh my goodness, they're incredible.
He's just done the trailer for our next retreat.
Yeah.
It's like a movie. It's nuts. I'll show you after.
But it's real, right? This is the real life experience that happens on these retreats. So for the men in the world, they're out there. They are there. You just got to find them. So if you're interested in doing any of the work, find it. We've got the Beauty and the Beast and then the Beast and the Beauty. Again, its own Instagram. We'll share all of this. But most importantly, for any men and women out there who are looking for who the fuck am I to start to be answered and to start to go inside, the technician is the way. And this really is, and I feel like I'm harping on this, but the journey starts within. And unless you are ready to take personal responsibility to change your environment, your internal environment has to change first. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. I really appreciate it. Is there anywhere else that they can reach you that I haven't mentioned?
How's this for a take? One of my most recent clients that I said was the millionaire. Incredible guy. I've got so much love for him. And he found me by typing into Google, how can I find my purpose and change my life? Sunshine Coast.
Oh, stop it.
And I apparently came up on like the second page or something. And he said he was going through all these different coaches and businesses and they all looked like real just white background, standard, all these things. And then he sees this guy with like a galaxy, a cartoon, the screwdriver and everything.
Technician, yeah.
And he's like, holy shit, who's this?
Amazing.
Sent the email. I got the email. I was like, oh, okay, cool, let's go. So you can find me on Google, the technician coaching, YouTube, podcasts, Apple, Spotify.
We didn't even get a chance to speak about the podcast. Oh my goodness. We'll do another episode on the podcast. It's
going to happen at
Just
some point.
You guys know, I'm in podcast royalty right now and I was super nervous having to interview. I know. I'll go on his podcast and be taking notes and being like, hey,
I can't wait for hours now.
I need to do this.
But yeah, obviously the first thing that started everything for me business-wise was my podcast.
Yeah.
So everyone, also I'm starting a podcast mentorship.
Yeah, this is important. Let's definitely mention this.
I'm not too sure when this is coming out, but it's going to be, what is it, August? Probably mid-October.
Yeah, it'll be out before then. So anyone who's wanting to start a podcast, I know how tricky it is and can be. If only I knew then what I know now, that I would have done some form of program mentorship course before starting it, so that I didn't fumble my way through the first kind of. Don't listen to the early. No, listen to the early episodes.
You're doing pretty good though.
Because I had a great podcast host when we first started, so he was brilliant. But the mentorship for me is really important, because it's so important to understand who you're talking to, what they want to know. Again, it's that client avatar stuff.
How to do it, all the technology, the software. I
Yes.
literally also give all
Editing
my tips on
stuff.
how to edit, like just your reels, like content. So it goes to the depths, and I also can help you overcome your fear of speaking in public, because I've done it. So I'm teaching everything I've done in the last 7 years / 2.5 years since starting the podcast. And I've been able to create a top 50 podcast in Australia. So there's things that the podcast can open up to you that you would never think imaginable, because you get in front of people you wouldn't have been able to without the podcast. You create friends and mentors. So Kiani's in front of me because I met Todd 2 years ago because I got him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Todd's now one of my best mates.
Yeah.
He's also one of my mentors. He's changed my life. I got him on the podcast. Think about that. Think about the opportunities a good podcast can bring into you.
Amazing.
You killed this. Thank you.
That's fun.
It's
Fun. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much again for tuning in to the She Can Humanise Business podcast. And I hope like hell you'll be hearing from me next week. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I would love to hear your feedback around what resonated and what key lessons and learnings that you took out of today's episode. You can find me on Instagram and on LinkedIn under the She Can Humanise Business podcast or Kiani Mills. I really hope that you were able to see, feel and experience a new way of humanising business.